invite you to open to Deuteronomy chapter 32, verse 9 to 12. That's what we're going to be reading. And also we're going to open to Isaiah 40, verse 31. Today, as a way of encouragement, I want us to learn something from one of the birds that God uses in the scripture to describe strength and to describe power. And also in the scripture that we are going to read, he uses it to describe how he himself, God, protects us and also leads us through the life of Jacob. So the title of the message is Lessons from an Eagle. God uses the symbol of an eagle sometimes to describe how he helps us and how he does things for us or to us. And sometimes it is also used as a symbol of what we can be if we copy and learn the characteristics and the behavior of an eagle. We find in our reading that Jacob was running away from his mother's house after stealing the birthright of Esau, his brother. And Jacob meant a supplanter, meant a thief, a cunning guy. That's what he was. So when he realized that his brother might just kill him for stealing his blessings or his right place as an elder son to receive the blessings from the father, his mother told him, "Run away, my son, and save your life." So he was running away. He went into the desert. He was going to a country where he was going to meet his uncle by the name Laban, and he was going to stay there. And when we read the Bible, he stayed there for years and years and years and years. And when he came back one day, he came back a mighty nation, which now became the 12 tribes of Israel. But before Jacob became this great man that eventually God used, and out of him came the nation of Israel, he went through some difficult times. When you see successful people at the end of their lives enjoying, it does not mean to say that success just came overnight. Sometimes people go through a whole lot of things to train them in order to be successful. And when I'm saying successful, I'm not talking about just money, but I'm talking about being able to enjoy life and to find your gifts, your talents, your abilities, and everything around you being meaningful. For me, that's what success is. People who come to that place, they've gone through a whole lot of things, trials, temptations, pain sometimes, in order to come out there. So as we learn lessons from the eagle, my encouragement is basically saying to you, God has you, and God knows what you go through, and God is watching over you. And if you can take certain things out of your life as lessons and not give up, you are going one day to come to a place whereby you say, God, I thank you for the journey of my life. So let's read then from the story of Jacob, where God had spoken to him that night. He saw in a dream angels descending up and down the heavens, and then when he woke up and he says, surely God is here. And then he spoke to God and he made a covenant with God. And as he journeyed from a place that was known as Bethel, where he met God, to go to his uncle's house, Jacob was already a changed man. He was no longer that a thief that had left home, because he encountered God. And then everything that happened in his life, it was God working him out to become that perfect Jacob, who eventually was now called Israel, as his name was changed later, so that God may bring a blessing to the whole world through a nation out of his bowels. Now we read verse 9. But the Lord's portion is his people, Jacob his allotted heritage. God found him in a desert land and in the hallowing waste of the wilderness. He encircled him, he cared for him, he kept him as the apple of his eye. Like an eagle that stirs up its nest, that flutters over its young, spreading out its wings, catching them, bearing them on its pinions, the Lord alone guided him and no foreign god was with him. At the very time when Jacob was lonely, was wondering whether his life is going to be anything, then God found him in the hallowing desert, which means to say a place where nobody was, all by himself, running away, not so sure what is going to become of him. There God found him. And then God made himself become his God. If you go back and you read Deuteronomy chapter 30, chapter 31, chapter 32, you will understand the whole full story. That then he made a covenant with the God who found him in the desert. I mean, when we say God found him in the desert, it simply means to say he was all by himself, lonely. I don't know whether you have ever been in the desert. In the desert, sometimes there is not even a tree. There is not even shade. You can go for miles and miles without even finding water. So imagine tired, hungry, running away from home, and then God meets him there. And then God becomes his God. And God begins to walk with him for the many years to come. But I like the way God describes him, that the Jacob that you see today, the Israel that you see today, who is powerful, who has got children, who has got many things, did not just start like that. He says, I found him in the hallowing waste of the wilderness, where there was no life. And he said, he encircled him, or I encircled him, I covered him, and cared for him, and kept him as the apple of my eye, such that no one could even kill him, no one could destroy him. I loved Jacob. And then he goes on to say, just like an eagle stirs up its nest, flutters over its young, spread its wings, the Lord alone guided him, no foreign God was with him. The way an eagle does, God is saying, so I did to Jacob, and he became what he was. Now let's read another scripture that talks also about eagles, and it's Isaiah 40, verse 31. This is one of my favorite songs. Actually, it's a theme song for my life, and I'll keep on singing it. I sang it when I was 17 years. I sing it in this church. They that wait upon the Lord. It reads, Isaiah 40, verse 31. But those who wait on the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings like eagles. They shall run and not be weary. They shall walk and not faint. They that wait upon God, which simply means those who trust in God, those who are not going to hurry asking questions, why things like this, but who trust in God, it says their strength is going to be renewed. They shall mount up with wings like eagles. He's not even saying they shall mount up with wings like a sparrow. They shall mount up with wings like a raven or like an owl. But it is saying like eagles, which means to say there is something about an eagle that we need to know. And maybe if we can know this today, certain things in our lives may make sense, or we can begin to put ourselves in line with what God says. So lessons from the eagle. Number one, eagles fly alone, and they fly at high altitudes, which means to say when they are flying, they don't just fly low. They like to fly in the highest altitudes, and usually they always fly alone. Most of the time when you see an eagle, sometimes it is always by itself. But yet, as long as it is by itself, it does many things. It kills its food. It knows how to go about. It is not even scared. Eagles don't fly with the sparrows. They don't fly with the ravens. They don't fly with owls. They don't fly with the small birds. Not because they are proud. It is in their nature to just not associate with those weaklings or the birds that does not add value to them. Yes, they appreciate nature, they appreciate other birds, but they don't mind about what a sparrow does. The eagles hang around with eagles, but most of the time it flies alone and in high altitude. Now, what is the lesson from that? The lesson I draw from that is that stay away from narrow-minded people, those that bring you down, if you want to be successful in life. It does not mean to say hate people, laugh at people, despise people. No. Your life is like a stadium. Do you know that in a stadium, you stay and you sit according to how much you pay? If you pay good money, you sit next to the goalpost where you can actually see the players and you can tell that, that one is this one, that one is this one, that one is this one. And if you pay little money, you stay right on top. You know, the stadium, you stay right on top. Where if even a person scores, you ask the person next to you, who really scored? Because you can't even tell who it is. But you are all in the stadium. So your life is like a stadium. You've got the right to seat people according to how much they pay into your life. And when I say pay, I don't mean to say pay money, but I'm talking about how much valuable they are in your life. I love everybody, but it's not everybody that I spend time with. There are some people that if I spend time with, I need to go and fast for 3 days in order for me to have the faith that I had before I spoke to them. You know, those kind of people that just drains you. Those kind of people that will just come to tell you how you are not good. You love them, but you don't allow them to be part of everything that you are doing. There's a proverb that says, you can allow birds to fly over your head, but you can never allow the birds to build a nest on your head. So in other words, you love everybody, but stay away from narrow-minded people, people that are always bringing you down. And I think you know who I'm talking about, isn't it? You know those people that just don't like you, no matter how much you pray for them, no matter how much you try to squeeze into their life, but they just don't like you. They don't like your success. They don't like anything that you're doing. You don't need to spend so much time worrying about those people. An eagle flies with eagles. Keep good company. I've learned this in life. There are some people that surely can drain your time for absolutely nothing. Don't waste the time with people who don't contribute positively into your life. Do you know that there are some people that just comes to take? There is nothing they give. They just come to take. To take every time, they're always taking. And when they take so rough. And they leave you so much empty, destroyed. They come back again when they see that you have recovered. They take again. You have got to learn to live with such people. Don't allow them to take the best of your time and the best of your things. It's nice to be generous, but it is a different thing to allow people to just make a playground of your life. Eagles fly alone, and they fly in high altitude. I'm not promoting be lonely. I think you can get what I'm saying, isn't it? It's a matter about choosing who you allow to come close to your life, people that add value. Number 2, eagles have an accurate vision. In other words, the eyes of an eagle are so sharp. When it opens up its eyes, it can see and focus on something as far as 5 kilometers away. They can see from a distance. If you go to do game viewing, sometimes you go to these water holes and there's a big tree in the water and the eagle is just sitting on top of there for hours and hours, and it's watching a fish that is just moving up and down. When you see it flying and then coming down, it will never miss. And once it locks its eyes on an animal, it goes straight for that. It can never be distracted. It goes for what it is looking for until it catches it. That's how an eagle survives. No matter the obstacles, the eagle will never move his focus from the prey until he grabs it. What is the lesson on this? Have a vision and remain focused no matter what the obstacles you may encounter in your life, you will succeed. Learn to spot opportunities around you. And when you spot opportunities around you, take action and take the opportunities. That's how success comes in life. You know why some of us are always behind? Because we focus on one thing, and when we are growing in it, we get distracted and we focus on another thing. When something is about to be good, we change because somebody comes and say, no, don't do this, do that. We are not so focused upon what we want. The average person today does not really know what they want. Hence, sometimes we are so busy, and after being busy, we are achieving nothing because we are focusing on too many things. Only one idea from God can make you become a success if you focus on it. Facebook owner came up with only one idea, Facebook, and focused on that, and Facebook was there. Steve Jobs had only one idea, iPhone. Who does not have an iPhone? If you want to know how much successful you are, check what kind of a phone you're using. Bill Gates, it's just a joke. Bill Gates, only one idea, Windows operating system. And he is one of the richest men. Just one idea. Maybe sometimes it is about focusing on your talent or on your gifts. Maybe your gift is to do hairdressing. What are you doing contesting for South Africa, Mrs. South Africa, when you do not have the features that they want in modeling? Is it simply because your friends are doing that? If you focus on what you are good at, you will be so amazed in how you become a celebrity of that. It does not matter whatever it is. If you are a carpenter, focus on carpentry. What are you doing with trying to fix cars when you don't even know what number 13 spanner is? Let those who can do that. Every person who is seated here has got a talent. He has got an ability. He has got a gift that God has given to you. But if I can just want to be a very good pastor today, I may just ask some of you, what's your talent? Or what's your gift? So that's what it is. An eagle focuses on one thing, and it gets its prey, and it never loses direction or focus because it knows what it wants. Now here's the question. Do you really know what you want in this life? Do you really know what you really want? When you go before God in prayer, what are you praying for? God, just make my life good. But good in what? Do you know that most of the time Jesus, when he was praying for people, he would ask them, what can I do for you? It is not because that Jesus did not know that they needed a lot of things, but Jesus wanted to answer what the person wanted. When Bartimaeus was shouting, Son of Man, have mercy upon me, Son of David, hear me. And when Jesus turned to him, he looked at him, and Jesus saw that Bartimaeus was blind. For sure, he is God. He could have known that he just wanted to see. But he asked Bartimaeus and said, what can I do for you? But because Bartimaeus knew what he wanted, he said, Rabboni, I want to see. So most of the times, we don't really know what we want. Even when it comes to choosing a job, sometimes we don't know the job that we want. When it comes to choosing a life partner, you just don't know what you want. So that's the reality of life. You have got to know what you want before God. And you've got to know who you are and what are your abilities, and begin to pray around that. You'll be so amazed that you will not waste time trying to copy other people or to be like other people. You will never be distracted by someone who's been successful in their way. Psalm 37 teaches us that. Do not be angry over those who are being successful in their own ways, but look upon yourself and trust in God. The only one idea from God can take you places. Number 3, eagles do not eat dead meat. They feed only on fresh prey. It is the vultures that just comes to finish what someone else has killed. But eagles, they always go for fresh things. They don't eat dead meat. What is the lesson from that? Do not rely on your past successes. Keep looking for new frontiers to conquer. Keep on looking for new things to conquer. Always be on the lookout and learn new things in your life. Do not rely on your past successes. You know the things that you had success yesterday. It's already gone. Look for new successes. There is always new challenges in this world. Leave your past where it belongs, in the past. Do not brag about yesterday's successes. You know, people sometimes who do not develop and do not grow, we say they always want to talk about the sweet by and bys. You know, those kind of people who say, you know, it was like always like this in this family. It was like this. Oh my goodness, how I miss those days. It was wonderful in the church. It was wonderful. So why can't we make it better today? It's because sometimes we are so focusing on the sweet by and bys, and we are forgetting to focus on today so that we can change things, so that today can be another sweet by and by in the coming years. In other words, I'm saying that live in the moment. Don't live in the past. The good past is gone. Create some new things today. There is always those opportunities. Achievement is a continuous process. Keep the fire burning always. Be fresh all the time. Can I say something to married couples? If you were dressing elegant when you were going to those dates, keep on dressing even when you are married. I've done a lot of marital counseling and marital problems. And sometimes problems comes because the fire of love is cold. He used to buy flowers. He does not buy flowers anymore. You used to help in the kitchen. He does not help anymore. She used to dress elegant when we go out. She does not dress elegant anymore. Don't stay in unwholesome relationships. Stay in relationships that always encourages you. Stay around people that are always lifting you up. When there's something good that you are doing, they'll tell you, sister, keep on doing it. We are supporting you. We will be behind you. We're going to be praying for you. They check up on you. How are you doing on that project? How are you doing on that thing that you said you want to do? People that support you. Number 4, eagles love the storm. When clouds gather, the eagles gets excited. The eagle uses actually the storm wind to lift up itself. And once it finds the wind of the storm, the eagle locks its wings to brave the storm, and it uses the raging storm to lift itself up above the clouds, where it begins to soar in the cool, fresh air. This gives the eagle an opportunity to glide and rest its wings, just like this. Have you ever looked at the sky when the eagles are? It'll be just cruising and enjoying itself, even during the storm. In the meantime, all the other birds will be hiding in the branches, in the leaves, in the trees, in the caves, and in the dens. Those little birds are running away and riding because there's a storm. But the eagle goes out when the storm comes. What's the lesson there? Challenges will come your way as long as you live on earth. Storms do come, and they do happen. Difficult times happens in life. You will lose a beloved one. Somebody is going to get sick at home. You might be retrenched. Economical disturbances come. Political upheaval, things do come. This is what is in the world. Storms do come. But here's the challenge. Face your challenges head on, knowing that these will make you emerge stronger and better than you were. I want to tell you, church, that I've become stronger and better after the storm, not before the storm. I've become wiser when I've gone through the storm in life, because I came to realize that the realities of life is that there are difficult things, but at the same time, I came to realize that God is in the storm. I don't like the storms of life. Nobody wants problems. Nobody says, I want them storms of life. I'm just missing problems. Hey, it has been 6 months. I've never been having a problem or even stress. I'm missing stress. Nobody says that. But the realities of life is that those things are there in life, And yet, they make us even much more stronger and wiser. It depends on how you handle yourself during the storm. You can break during the storm and run away like the raven, run away like the little birds, or you can look for opportunities to use the storm to elevate you to another level of understanding how life goes by. I know what I'm saying is very difficult because sometimes during the storm, nothing makes sense. It is always after the storm. That's why we need to have this knowledge and understanding that no matter difficulties comes, you must always know that God is there. Even in the most times that he looks like as if he is not there, you just have to have that knowledge that he is there. That's enough for you to navigate through the storm. It may be difficult. It may look like as if you are breaking. But just for the fact that you know that God is there, it's enough to make you say, this too shall come to pass. We can use the storms of life to rise to greater heights. Again, I say it is the way that you interpret the storms. It is the way that you pray. It is the way you recognize where is God in the storm. Again, if you have got good associates around you, they will tell you that this is the kind of things that happens in life. Let's pray like this. Let's walk like this. Achievers, that is people who achieve something in life, are not afraid of storms. They accept the current status and they find a way to adapt to the new environment and use this new challenge to rise to greater heights. That's the difference between failures and achievers. Failures run away when they see the dark clouds. But achievers would say, what can I do anyway? This is a storm. Let me go through it. And when they come to the other side, you realize that it is brighter. The storm is gone away. And now you can breathe. Achievers are people who are not afraid of challenges. They are risk takers. When I was growing up, I hated challenges in life. I wanted everything to be always smooth, like cutting butter with a hot knife. There was a time that I was walking like this. As a 28-year-old man, 29-year-old man, I was walking like this. Why? Because I had a heavy chest pain that would never go away. And it was stress-related. I would take every problem personally. I would be defeated by every problem. I would eat myself out. Say, I just don't know how I can do these things. Until one day, I learned to surrender everything into the hands of the living God. And also to seek peace and understanding over things that I cannot change. Now, church, listen to this. The reality of life is that there are some things that you can never change. If the thing is broken, it's broken. You can never mend it. So you can choose to worry about something that is broken, which you can never mend, or you can choose to say, it is broken, I will accept as it is. It is a technicality in your mind, just to shift to that. I have failed, I have failed. So I'm going to try tomorrow to do better. But you can spend the whole night thinking about your failure, analyzing your failure, thinking about what you could have done, and it adds nothing because you can never change the hands of time to go back to yesterday. So it's about accepting, most of the time, accepting that things have gone bad, accepting that you did not win. Do you know that teams that eventually win the league are teams that accepted defeat? Coaches who never accepted defeat, usually they mess their players. But if you accept a defeat, it actually gives you an opportunity to look at your mistakes, to analyze what went wrong. But when you are angry and frustrated at life situations, you can never think straight. Bitterness and anger clouds yourself from reasoning. In the Bible, there's a woman by the name Naomi. She lost her husband, then she lost her 2 sons, and she was living in a foreign land. As a widow, she did not have anyone to look after her. And widows in that particular time were always undermined. She was so angry and so bitter about life that she even wanted to change her name from Naomi, who is a friend, which means friend, to Mara, which means bitterness, because she said, God has deserted me. But we know the story of Naomi in the book of Ruth, that when she went back to Bethlehem, as a result of Ruth walking together with her, when she arrived there, life began to happen. Even the things that she had said will never happen in Bethlehem began to happen. Why did she say there is no more God? Because she was bitter at the loss. Sometimes when you are so bitter and we are angry about life circumstances and the storms, you may even not be able to know which way out of the storm. Learn to say to God, give me the ability and the understanding to accept the things I cannot change, and then to find peace in everything. There is a miracle that can happen in your life. You will just find yourself accepting things that you can't change, and then finding peace even after that. It's an amazing thing. Achievers do not fear anything because they know that their God is with them. Fear is not an option. You can do it. Fix your eyes on Jesus. Focus and lock your eyes and your efforts on what makes you successful, just like an eagle. Do not allow your eyes to be sidetracked by what people say, by what other people's opinions are, especially if you know what God has said to you. I always say, do you know why I don't bother myself when people say, why do you preach? Why do you save God? And maybe sometimes they speak me down and try to discourage me about my ministry, about my profession as a person, as a minister of the gospel. You know why I don't have to give some people to understand why I am serving God? You know, there are some people that will ask you, why are you doing what you are doing? Because they don't see why you should do it according to themselves. But you do what you do because it makes you happy. You do what you do because this is what God has given to you. The reason why I don't worry myself about trying to explain to people why I am enjoying what I'm doing, because my calling was not a conference call. It was between me and God alone. Until God tells me that what you are doing is nothing, then I say, okay, God, have we changed the style? Have we changed the mission? Not what other people may say. You can laugh at me, you can mock at me. It does not matter. My calling was between me and God. It was not a conference call. I don't remember seeing you there. I don't even remember your opinion when God was telling me do this. I don't even remember God saying, hey, what can we tell him? No. It was between me and God. There are some times in life when you need to stick to that. If you are in a relationship that God has given to you, people are going to say things that may push you out of that relationship. Unless for sure, if it was a setup. Then if it was a setup, or what you call it, the matchmaking, then you go to the people that matchmaked you. But if it was something that came from your heart, always remember that it is your responsibility between you and God to maintain that relationship, to make that relationship work, to believe in that relationship, no matter what people say. Number 5, quickly, eagles prepare for training. I like this one especially. Eagles prepare for training. They train their young right from the beginning. And it doesn't God train us. God equips us and trains us. But listen to this. When an eagle has been feeding its eaglets, and when she realizes that now it's time for them to get out of the nest, what she does is that she removes the feathers and the soft grass in the nest so that the young ones gets uncomfortable. It removes everything that was smooth. Everything it removes and leaves the thorns and everything so that these little ones becomes uncomfortable in preparing them for flying. And eventually they can't take it. They've got to get out of the nest when it becomes unbearable to stay in the nest. Then the eagle picks them because they can't fly. She picks them on her back and takes them so high above the clouds. And when she's right up above the clouds, she turns her back and shakes them off from her, and they begin to fall down. As they are falling down, they're trying to hold, they can't fly. And when they're about to hit the ground, she comes up again and swoop them up. goes back again to the highest cloud, shakes them off. She repeats this several times until these little ones are able to fly. In fear, the eaglets finally knows how to fly. I can imagine those little ones just being thrown and left up there, and when they're about to hit the ground, they're taken up again. It's pandemonium. It's hectic. What's the meaning of this? Allow yourself to be trained. Life is a training ground too. Allow people to speak into you. You don't know it all. Especially to the young people. Have a meek heart to learn and listen to others, whatever your position is in society. Leave your comfort zone. There is no growth in your comfort zone. Have a mentor. Submit yourself under someone. Be humble. Mr. Advocate, you can't legislate attitude. What kills us, many of us, is an attitude of not wanting to be trained or to learn. That's why we don't know many things in life. If you have to learn a new skill, tough decisions have to be made, and sometimes there is pain to be experienced because you are learning something new. But that's the reality of life. Anything new that you learn, which you are proud of right now, if you look back, it was a pain. When you went to college, it was painful. When you were paying those monies, it was painful. When somebody was instructing you, you wish if you could have an angel from heaven to just come and teach you. That's the reality of life. If you want to be trained on anything, if you want God to train you on anything, if you want to be better in this life about anything, it's never going to be easy. Sometimes God will take you through some difficult times and moments in life, and that's part of training. Who would ever know that these eaglets can become stronger? That's how they become stronger and mount up during the storm, because even the training itself lives up to the measure. Do you know that the kind of training that you have received in life determines the kind of a person you become? If people were just treating you as a queen, even if you make a mistake, no one was even saying, hey, you can't do that. The day you make a mistake amongst people that don't treat you like a queen, you'll go into depression because you can't handle criticism. So check out sometimes when it is so hard and you are learning something, it is preparing you to become much more better. When your mother tells you that you can't cook, my mother used to say that to my sisters. I never understood. She would stand next to the stove while she's cooking pap, and she would be having a stick in the hands. And if the pap turns yellow, you know when it turns yellow? It means it's burning. On the hands. And we, as boys, we just used to enjoy it, but we never understood until we grew up. And she would say, they will return you wherever you are going to go. They will bring you back. I never understand, where would they bring back to what? But I understood that she was preparing them for their own homes. I hope the young people of today, even if you have got YouTube that teaches you to cook, but still, there is some training that you can be subjected to, mangwenya, isn't it? Hard. But listen to this, church. You may be going through some tougher things that seems to be very painful. Money is going out. Hey, but you are learning something. The value that you put and the pain that you experience, the frustration that you experience in learning anything, determines the quality of what is going to come out of your life. God is a great teacher. He teaches us through difficult times. Sometimes He takes things that are so valuable to us and we wonder why. But only years later you realize that it made you stronger. Sometimes He makes you go through a surgery and you just say, but why is it some other people are healed? But in the next year, in the next months, you see that actually God's glory has been manifested through what you went through. When you are telling other people to become stronger, you are not telling them because you have read it on newspaper or on YouTube. You are telling it because you have experienced it. Do you know that when you hear a person correcting you or giving you advice over the things they've experienced, there is a difference from a person who is speaking from experience and a person who is speaking from other people's testimonies? Because the experience is warm. You get an assurance that, wow, now I'm talking to a person who knows this stuff here. Though it is dangerous, the eagles drops the eaglets. I want to say this. God will let you go through situations and allow you to drop as if He never cared. Get those words. As if He never cares, but He cares. Usually that's where we miss it. When He seems to be like far, we think God is not there, so it's pointless to pray. Have you ever come to a time in your life whereby you say, why am I praying for? What's the point of praying? I've been praying, I've been asking, but things don't change. And you hear the people, you come to church and the people are testifying about the goodness of God, and they are praying, and you say, but as if He does not care, but yet He cares. It's a training process. Only attitude that you need to have is keep on trusting in Him. He will never leave you nor forsake you until you eventually learn how to fly like an eagle. Let me give you the last one. When eagles grow old, because eventually eagles do grow old, his feathers become weak and cannot take him as fast as he used to be and even as high as he wants to go, because the feathers have become weak. And this makes him weak, and he cannot even ride so faster, and he cannot catch his prey so faster, and this can make him die. So he retires to a place, a solitary place, far away in the mountains, where no animals can even reach. Right on a cliff, right on a mountain. He goes up there and he builds a nest for himself. And he sits in that nest. And he kills a lot of animal and a lot of meat to sustain him for the coming days. Then he sits there and then he begins to pluck out the weak feathers. He begins to beat his beak against the rocks, breaking it so that another new one would come. He begins to chop and eat up the clothes and everything. It's a bloody and painful process because he becomes useless and powerless. That's why he goes to a very lonely place where not even predators would come. Because if he gets attacked like that, he can be killed. All in that solitary place, strips himself of every weak feathers. Then he stays in a hiding place until he has grown new feathers, a new beak, new clothes. And then he comes out flying. That's where we come to Isaiah 40. They shall mount up with wings like an eagle. When he comes out of that nest, he has got rejuvenated strength. He has got even the power that is more than when he was just a teenager. Why? Because of new feathers, a new beak, and new claws. He is prepared to hunt again. That's how an eagle renews its strength. And God uses that as an example to us, that your strength will be renewed like that of an eagle. So what's the lesson? The lesson is, accept that you are growing old day by day. Accept that sometimes you get tired. Accept that sometimes the things that you used to do, you can't do anymore. Accept that actually the knowledge that you have might be limited and you need new knowledge in your life. There comes a time that sometimes you've got to settle down and to do things like a grown-up man, do things like a woman. You cannot just continue to behave like a teenager. You don't continue to behave like a little boy. Paul talks about that and says, when I was a little boy, I thought like a boy, I talked like a boy, I did things like a boy. But now I'm grown-up man. I have got to think and talk like a man. If ever people always comes to you and say, act your age, it means you are not developing. You need to upgrade your life. We occasionally, however, need to shed off habits, no matter how difficult those habits are. Because we are habitual animals, we pick up habits. Sometimes we start cursing. Sometimes we begin to be slow. Sometimes we begin to lie. Sometimes we begin to cut corners. These things we pick as we grow in life. And some of those things, they make us go heavy. People don't trust us anymore. People don't count on us anymore because we've picked up bad habits. And these things, they burden us and add no value in our lives. And we should let go. There's a time that you need to sit down and you look at yourself and remove the weak things that even some people are identifying in you and say, you used to be a nice person, but you seem to have grown to be a mean and evil person. You used to do good things, but now you're doing this. When people are saying like that, they are watching. They can see that there is a change in you. There are some times that we need to check and pluck out the things that can make you look bad. The friends that we pick up along the way. Sometimes even bad characteristics that we pick up as we are developing. Sometimes we need to look into that. Those are the things sometimes that blocks us from developing in life. No one will pluck out the old feathers from you. No one will do that. Only you. That's the hardest lesson that I've learned, and many of you, I think, have learned that no one is going to do the job of transforming and changing you. Change is going to happen because you have decided to change. Change is going to happen because you yourself, you see that the way that I speak is blocking me from having good friendships, good relationships, respect from people. I need to change the way that I speak. And until you change, you will never have good breaks. So the eagle does not wait for other birds to come and fight against it and pick up the feathers from it. It takes itself up high, lonely place, solitary, check on itself, removes all the weak feathers. Some things don't go away, but by prayer and fasting and very close looking. That's why I always say, have a mentor. Have somebody that looks into your life. Have somebody that you have tea, breakfast with now and then. Say, hey, how do you think I'm doing in life? Or what's happening in life? Just to check up on you. Because we pick things in life. If you are married, then you are blessed because you watch each other. I know that married couples will say, I don't want my husband to tell me on what I'm not doing well because I think he just represents the evil one. It's when he speaks, it's Satan speaking. I want other people to. But let me tell you, the truth is that the people that really knows me, you know who really knows me? You guys don't know me. You know me here on this pulpit. I'm a great man, isn't it? Wonderful. But if you really want to know me, come and spend some time together with me and Nicola, and then you will really know who I am. When you go to work, it's just, everybody's nice, everybody's holy, everybody's perfect. Who is here? Everybody says people, they just don't understand me. I'm a nice person. There's no one. Have you ever heard a person who says, hey, I want to be so evil, I want to be so bad. I am so bad, I am so evil. No, everybody is good. Everybody thinks that they are the best version of a human being that has ever existed on earth. But other people can also pick things in our lives. Those who are very close to us. They can see inconsistency. They can see unaccountability. They can see the lies because they know what you said yesterday. And you need those people sometimes to speak into your life freely. Just try it. Ask your mother, Mommy, can I give you the chance? Can you just tell me about me? How am I doing in life? And be free to be attacked. Be free to be told. You may learn so much about yourself. You are a winner, and you know it. God has you on his side. You are not alone. Do that which will make you become successful. Pray more, be more, see more, and grow more. The lessons from an eagle. My prayer is that God may help you, that indeed they that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings like eagles. They shall walk and not faint. They shall run and not become weary. Why? Because there is strength in them. May God bless you.